Hi,
Hello.
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. So I'm really excited to get into talking with you because you're a lot of fun. But why don't I go ahead and make an introduction of the show?
All right.
So, hi, everybody. Thank you for checking out the second episode of my experimental web series, we'll call it. All of our appearances have been canceled. I'm Marilisa Beatty. And in terms of the pageant world, I am the current Mrs. Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, America 2020. It's a mouthful, but it's a fun job to do. So I am here with the beautiful, generous, lots
Oh,
of fun, um, and really, really inspirational Rebecca West Hensinger. She is
hello.
the current Mrs. Pennsylvania America 2019. She is the current Mrs. Denmark World 2019. And Rebecca is actually one of those amazing unicorns in the pageant world in that she just got into pageantry last year, right? Last year was your first year competing. Not
Yes.
only did she win Mrs. Pennsylvania America on her first try, she placed top 15 in the Mrs. America pageant, which was just a couple of months later. She then went on to place top 20 in Mrs. World pageant. So she's really incredible. And I'm really happy to have her here. So why don't I let her actually introduce herself? So Rebecca, take it away.
Thanks, Mari. So, yes, my name's Rebecca West Hensinger. I am the current, as she said, Mrs. Pennsylvania America 2019 and Mrs. Denmark World 2019. And I will likely be Mrs. Denmark World 2020 competing in Sri Lanka for Mrs. World 2021, depending on where we are in travel and large events in the world. But I'm really, really hopeful for that. That's what I'm looking ahead to next. So, yes, last year was my first year involved in pageantry as a 38-year-old woman, and it's been incredible. And I'm excited for what lies ahead in the future, whatever that may be, and looking forward to meeting more and more women like Marlissa.
That's so exciting. Well, I do want to, I always like to start the show by having the guest talk about her platform, which is really important. But since you're here, I feel like I'd miss an opportunity not asking you this particular question to really kind of tap into your knowledge base. So, um, for any woman who's going to be doing her first pageant this year,
Mhm.
particularly in the Mrs. category, where maybe some of the other contestants have had a lot of experience or someone who's thinking about joining. Do you have any particular advice for more of a first timer?
Oh my gosh. So, if you're thinking about it, don't hesitate. um, do some research, figure out what system is the best for you based on what you'd like to do and what you'd like to get out of it. I thought the Mrs. America system was the best one out there. They're very family oriented. They've been around a really long time, as well as their sister pageant, Mrs. World.
Mm.
And just taking a look at the website and reviewing the state requirements, which really are only that you are a married woman 18 years or older and residing within the state that you'd like to represent. Other than that, like Marlissa said, you don't need to have any experience. You don't need to know anybody. All you need to do is take that leap. And I highly, highly recommend it because the past year for me has been one of the best years of my life. And I've learned so much along the way. But really, the number one piece of advice I would give is to invest in a pageant coach.
Yeah,
They will really guide you along the journey and give you the questions to the thing that questions, the answers to the
sure.
questions that you would have as a newcomer or somebody who's also seasoned. So,
Sure.
investing in a pageant coach, number one for sure.
Yeah, that's great advice. And actually now I have a follow-up question. So you're getting a lot of questions out of this 10 question interview.
I
Um,
love questions. I love
Now
questions.
that you're going into your second year of pageantry, do you feel like you're going to approach anything different? Are you changing anything? Tell us about that.
I think that I've gained a lot of confidence along the way just through experience. So, for the Pennsylvania pageant, that was the first time I ever hit a pageant stage in those shoes
Yeah.
and in an evening gown and modeling in that style. It was the very first time. And I mean, I really knew nothing, but I watched a lot of videos. I spoke to a lot of women who were past title holders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had long conversations with my coach, video calls. So just having that experience now, so being on stage 3 times, I feel so much more confident. So that has been a game changer for me, and also practicing walking, because really I had zero experience, and now instead of being nervous, I really love it. So I think that I've changed the nerves to more excitement and confidence.
That makes sense. And
For
I know,
sure.
people who aren't involved in pageantry think things like, how hard is it to walk? It's really hard. I
It
dare
can be hard.
one of you who say that to just go ahead and walk in your neighborhood like a normal person if everybody was outside in their lawn chairs looking at you. You probably would somehow like lose control of your arms and totally forget how to put
You've
one.
changed something.
Yeah, like
You changed something without even thinking about it.
there's something about the observation of someone walking. Like, for example, you blink all day, I assume. And I feel like usually people don't think about blinking, but when somebody mentions blinking or like, oh, you're not blinking, you're blinking a lot. I don't know about you, but I then become aware of my blinking. And I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
similar to breathing. I assume
Mhm.
you breathe all day and you're like not thinking about it. But then when somebody brings attention to kind of those involuntary things that your body is doing, you suddenly become very aware of it. And suddenly
Mhm.
that changes the whole way you do it. So, to anyone who's never tried to walk in front of people, let alone in heels, let alone in a floor length gown, or God forbid, a bathing suit, I think you should try it before you speak poorly of pageant women. But anyway,
Yes.
we'll get off the soap.
And also knowing that you're in front of a panel of judges
Yeah,
who are judging you.
they're
But
literally judging you.
they really are, but you know what you signed up for,
Sure.
and be excited about it.
Yeah.
Be excited about it. It's a way to be proud of yourself. It's a way to grow, and now I love being on stage. I'm so sad when it's over now. But
Mhm.
in the Pennsylvania pageant, I'm like, when is this over? Get me off, because I wasn't as practiced. And just with
Right.
anything, public speaking, anything, with the practice and experience comes confidence. So just
Sure.
keep at it. And if you're nervous at first, don't worry, it changes.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well,
Mhm.
thank you for that. Thank you for that wisdom from our current queen. I always love hearing your wisdom. The first time we met, we almost basically got kicked out of the restaurant because we sat there
Ah,
so long talking. I was just wanted to take in all of your knowledge.
that was such a great night. That was so great.
Good. All right. Well, I'm doing my hair touch now because I was told by a viewer last time I touched my hair too much, but you know what? It gets in my face.
And
So
now you're aware of it.
now
It's
I'm
one of
aware
those
of it.
things.
All right, but let's get serious. I really want you to tell me and tell everybody else about your really amazing platform and the work that you do there.
Aha. So, very big part of pageantry is figuring out why you'd like to do this. Not just for confidence, not just for the friendship or the stage experience or the glamour. And pageantry, especially the Mrs. America system, most certainly has all of those components.
Mm.
But the biggest part, arguably, is your platform, your community service, and why you'd like to do this and what kind of change you would like to bring about as a result of your participation. So, figuring out your why is really important. And for me, I initially thought that I wanted to do something in education because I've been involved in education my entire career in one way or another. And then, so you figure out what you're interested in, things that you'd like to see change. And then you kind of really think about it, talk to some coaches, and you narrow it down to one thing that you can really be remembered for because it's what you stand for. So for me, I created a scholarship for local students in my area. We have a 97% poverty rate in the school district that I grew up, graduated from, and taught in. And college really can't financially happen for a lot of our students. So, locally, as Mrs. Lehigh County, I wanted to focus on this scholarship. I called it Crowns for Kids. And, after I won the PA crown, I wanted to keep the scholarship going, and I still do. But then I needed to change my scope and have something more outside of my hometown, because as Mrs. Pennsylvania, you want something that can reach a little bit bigger. And then if you're thinking about Mrs. America, then that scope needs to change to include even more people. And then as Mrs. World, well, it speaks for itself.
Sure.
So in addition to keeping the scholarship running and really staying true to my hometown and how I could help them, I decided to delve into more of my personal life and things that have happened to me in my life that have brought me to where I am today. And also looking at the state of the country, the state of the world, and what really needs some attention. And it is the addiction crisis in America and worldwide. My father celebrates 30 years of sobriety this year.
Awesome.
It was about 2 weeks ago. Really incredible. It gives me goosebumps. So I'm 38 years old, and the first about 8 years of my life, my dad wasn't wasn't present because he was battling addiction. And his third try at rehab, he finally got clean. He turned his life around, and I can say that he is one of, if not the most important person in my life, as a fantastic father, as a grandfather, and as a husband to my stepmother. So he is really proof that recovery can work. And if it wasn't for him, I know I wouldn't be who I am today. And I know that my son, my children wouldn't be who they are today without their grandfather in their life. So to me, it goes to show that recovery is so powerful, and it affects not just one person, but generations within a family. And to me, nothing is more strong than that. And that is worldwide. And addiction takes a lot of different forms. And recovery can always be the answer, but it's not easy.
Mm.
So I thought to myself, how do I get the word out there that there's this power of recovery? Do you pass out flyers? Do you make a website? Do you try to get speaking engagements? Well, and how do you involve a community and people of all ages? So just in looking at trends in the United States and worldwide, I found that rock painting was getting really, really popular as a way to bring people together and to spread messages to people very informally, but in a powerful way. So I talked things over with my coach, and we thought, how about we start a campaign or an initiative based on rock painting and somehow plant those rocks that you create in community events and hope that people who need to hear a message will find them. But how do we get the message across about recovery? So I found a company that created these weatherproof labels to stick on the back of rocks. And I wish I had one to show you because they're so beautiful.
Oh.
So this weatherproof label contains information, a hotline that's 24/7 of how to take the first steps for recovery. And we're so confident that somebody is going to find at least one of these rocks, pick it up, examine it, maybe turn it over and find this information. And maybe that is the sign that they take that first step in recovery, because it always starts with, a sign, a conversation, meeting someone, and maybe, just maybe, this is it. So the campaign is called #RocksToRecovery. And we're hosting community events across the country for the rest of the year. However, they've all been canceled. It's
Oh,
just,
canceled. Yeah, we
I
had
would like
one.
to say postponed.
Yeah,
Postponed.
we had
And
one coming up in May in Phoenix that
yes.
we were working on. So
And I'm
we'll
thinking
figure
we
that.
could even do something virtually.
Yeah,
And my idea for moving forward in the COVID-19 crisis is that, people can scout for rocks in their town with their children, with the people they live with, and paint these rocks. And then I will send them the labels for them to affix and then plant them in their community.
that's a good idea.
And this
Yeah,
really, it will be worldwide.
yeah.
And the last event that I did was at um, an addiction community center that is helping families who are affected by addiction. And a lot of times it's focused on the individual, but
Sure.
when addiction takes hold of somebody, there are a lot of people who are affected: children, spouses, family, friends. So this center is called the Oasis Community Center. They're focused on helping the people who have been affected by addiction, and it's a wonderful place.
Amazing.
So we did a rock painting event with them, and they gave me ideas of great places to put these rocks, things that I never even thought of. The one lady said to me, well, put them at gas stations, because there's a lot of hand-to-hand transaction of drugs at gas stations
Oh,
historically. She's like,
okay.
put them at gas stations, put them in gas station bathrooms, put them at like urban city bus stops, put them in rural parks, because addiction, it doesn't know a demographic, it doesn't know an age, a gender. So,
That's amazing. That's a great
she
idea.
gave me all these really great ideas, and
Right.
I'm excited about it.
Yes. Well, that is great, Rebecca. That's really such an important thing to do. And on behalf of just everybody, thank you for putting in the time and energy that you do into it. And I know you do it with passion. You don't just do it
Yeah,
like,
it's a
oh,
real it's a
something to
real
do. I know you
pleasure.
have passion behind it.
It's a real pleasure. And when you find your why for doing all of this,
Yeah.
the rest of it just kind of comes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, sorry for the long-winded
Yeah. No,
answer,
I
but
mean,
there's a lot to say.
there's a lot to say and it needs to be out there. So, um, hashtag rocks for recovery. Is
Yes.
there any other way they can find information about it or information about you or what you do?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it? You
Are
cut
there,
out
is there
just
anywhere else? So if somebody is listening to this and they want to just find more information about what you're doing, is there anywhere
sure.
they should go in particular?
Yes, so it's www.crownsforkids.com, and it's crowns FORKIDS.com.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're
Whew.
welcome.
Well, now let's transition. um, what I want to do is ask you a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask you
Okay.
about 10 questions coming from 5 different categories. The first category is called pageanty things. These are questions kind of about the pageant world, but not necessarily like competition style questions by any means, nothing you'd be asked on stage or in the room. Next is the category I call Hey You. And these are really questions just all about you, kind of your opinions and thoughts. Then we have the category called Brian Would Like to Know. And that's always a question supplied by my husband because we do Mrs. Pageants and we can't be Mrs. without the Mister. So he gets a question
That's
in there.
so true. It's such a big part of it. Mhm.
The fourth category is called Just Silliness. And it's really just a question that has nothing to do with anything, just throwing it out there. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, the fifth category rotates. I change it for everybody. It's a quick fire category, but I'll tell you what your theme is at the end. Does that sound
Okay.
okay?
Bring it on.
Okay. Actually, I kind of lied. I didn't really lie, but my description for your pageantry questions aren't fully accurate because my first question is actually kind of pertinent to pageant women everywhere right now, including Mrs. America contestants, because all of the state pageants at this point, as far as I can see, or a lot of them are being postponed. So a
Mhm.
lot of state pageants that were going to be happening in April, May, even early June are are getting pushed back to July.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to some women who did have pageants earlier, and so essentially they were at their peak of training, um,
Okay.
and physical training, mental, emotional training, interview training, and now that time has been pushed back. So I know you are a champion in pageantry. I also know you compete in athletics. So I guess pulling from those experiences, is there anything you can share about, you know, trying to stay focused even if your target date has been pushed?
Mm-hmm. So, not even given the state of the world right now, but in general, dates are so movable. You
Mm,
never know when something's going to be postponed for one reason or another. You never know if something might happen in your life where you may not end up competing this year after all. But
mhm,
don't think of the date, think of the end goal, because it's going to happen at some point. But
mhm.
just be ready. Stay in that mindset of this is happening. I've come this far. I've prepared this much. I've invested this much. I'm in the mindset. Don't lose it. Don't
Sure.
let it go. Hold on to it. All of the races that I've been training for this year, including a really big and exciting one in Italy in September. I mean, poof, that's
Mm,
gone. That's
right.
done. But am I going to, fall off the wagon and not run or not ride my bike?
Hmm.
No, because it's become part of my life and it's something I enjoy. So if you enjoy preparing for pageants, and that's such a big part of the journey,
Yeah.
then you won't want to fall off the wagon. And
Sure.
even if for some off reason things don't happen this year and you never know, then you're that much more ready next year. And you've grown that much more too. I think any extra time that you have for growth, take advantage of it. It's a
Sure.
gift.
Sure. That's good advice. Do you think there's any such thing as overtraining?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in the sports world, you can overtrain, you can go too hard, and then you have to end up benching yourself. It
Mhm.
happened to me a couple of years ago. I had to sit out for a whole bunch of races I financially, mentally, and physically invested in, but I went too hard. I didn't listen to my body, I listened to my ego.
Right.
And that will never get you anywhere except for the sidelines. Same thing in pageantry. If you overtrain in interview, then you
Mm,
start sounding like
yeah.
a canned person. If you kind of overtalk or you overthink it or you start listening to what other people are saying, like in example videos, and it's going through your head, then you've overtrained and then you're not really you. And they're looking for you. They're not looking for a version of you that
Right.
you think they want to see.
Sure. Sure. All right. Good advice. Thank you. All right. Now, pageants have been around for a long time, obviously, and trends have changed over time, whether we're talking about trends in gown, hair, makeup, style of pageants in terms of televised pageants, what they do or don't do. Have there been any pageant trends, past or present, that you really don't love? You really don't think it's cute? You don't like it?
Man, I'm going to be a little controversial and say this, but I attended with two close friends the Miss America 2.0 pageant
Uh,
this past December.
yeah.
We were there for the live taping in Connecticut. We were in the third row. It
Mm,
was exhilarating, like anything live, where there's going to be a big outcome, like a crown's going to be passed, or
yeah.
like a hockey playoff where a trophy's going to be won. There is that energy and you can feel that. But
Yeah.
I was not feeling there was no swimsuit portion. We all knew that was going to happen. There was not an evening gown competition either. They came
Right.
out in gowns, but that that glitz and glamour and it was gone from that system. But everybody knew that that system had taken a turn in another
Right.
direction. They made it more about the service and speaking platforms. It started to feel a little bit like a political debate.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. It did not feel like a pageant to me. Nevertheless, I had one of the best nights of my life with really great friends and my
Oh, good.
husband. So that was all worth it. But in the end, I think single women in America should check out the Miss for America pageant, because
Yeah.
that is not lacking any of the glitz and glamour,
Yeah.
including swimsuit. Swimsuit has disappeared from a lot of pageants. I happen to really love that portion. I think that that's where you really gain your confidence, and that's where you work the hardest. Because if you're going to be on stage in swimwear,
Yeah.
you're going to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of learning involved in preparing for something like that.
Absolutely. All right.
Keep you on your toes.
Yes, absolutely. And I think maybe even especially now that we're all locked indoors, you have to work even harder, right? To stay focused. Don't snack all day. Find workouts in your home that work for you, or walking around your neighborhood, what have you. But we can't all get to the gym the way we'd want to, or things like that. So absolutely. All right. So this next one is kind of a question, but not really, but it's my favorite part of the show, called My Favorite Picture of You. And this is when I pull up my favorite picture of you and say all kind of nice stuff about you, because you deserve it. So this is really difficult, because anyone who has seen your social media knows that you have hundreds and hundreds of really gorgeous pictures. So it took me a while to settle on this one. And I will say, this is an iPad Pro, so the picture is just huge. I mean, it's gorgeous, but it looks like I literally printed out an 8x10 photo of you, like, keep by my bedside, which I don't. But this photo is so nice that I could. Look at this one. I know there's glare, but I love this one. So the question about this is, tell us a little bit about, where this was, what was going on.
Oh my
Who did this work? It's beautiful.
This was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. Oh, I let you know.
Love that. Look at your eyes.
When you look at a picture and you can remember, where you were, what you were talking about, everything leading up to it. It's just this memory that's etched in your mind that never goes away. And I will always remember that day. And actually, I wish I had it with me. But my aunt and uncle blew up that picture and put it side by side of a picture of me when I was 5 and kind of touching my face like that. Cute. It's so funny. I'll send it to you.
I want to see that.
Yeah, there's it's really fun. But so that was taken by Carlos Velez in Orlando, Florida. He's an incredible pageant photographer. He's judged Miss USA. He knows everyone, and he's so much fun to hang around. And shooting with Carlos is a whole experience, because you go in there. He has this great little, adorable studio. That hair and makeup was done. I forget her name, but normally he works with Blake Walters, who is just an iconic artist in his field. And Carlos does this great job of setting the tone for the environment, because you're there for like 5 hours. But he's a big screen TV, and he has Miss USA and Miss Universe being replayed in their entirety from past years. And he draws you into conversation. He'll ask you questions like, who's your favorite title holder? Oh, I love her. Isn't she great? I'm like, yes, love that dress. Well, what do you like about it? And you just get to sit there and talk pageantry with somebody who really knows their stuff in the industry. And he's so approachable, and he's so talented, and he just, like, his rapport with the girls he works with is unforgettable. He'll set a scene for you. He'll tell you how he wants you to pose. He'll tell you where to sit. I'll never forget. He's like, here's your throne, my queen, sit here. And when someone talks to you like that, you kind of just instantly get in that confident character, and the pictures reflect it. And he'll give
you see it in the
they
work.
reflect it.
It's gorgeous.
All right. He is a visionary. I can't say enough good things about Carlos. My best friend Kate, who's the current Mrs. New York, we just made a girls' trip to Orlando to shoot with him in February. We had the best time. We probably had too much fun, and the pictures are also some of my favorites. But I will never forget that day with Carlos. And that's why less than a year later, I returned to Florida to shoot with him for a second time.
Yeah, I almost picked one from that series, but
Ah,
I had to
gosh,
stick
dude,
with
I
that.
love him. And you know what? His prices are so reasonable.
Hmm.
They're so reasonable. And they include really fantastic hair and makeup that translates.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
highly, highly recommend.
good to know. Everybody write that down. Go see Carlos.
Carlos Velez.
Go see
He's in
Carlos.
Orlando. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to the category called Hey You. And these are just questions about, you. So um, if you could open a themed restaurant, what would the theme be? How would you decorate it?
Mm. I would for sure open an Indian restaurant. I love Indian food.
Mm.
I am a lifetime vegetarian by choice. I'm really just a glorified picky eater. So I love ethnic food. I love dishes that are spiced and flavored in an interesting way. And I'm so dying to get to India. The culture, the colors, the cooking. I would envision it having a lot of like bright oranges and purples and pinks and very casual seating with a lot of pillows
Ooh,
and lots of chickpeas.
I want to go there. What would you call it?
Oh man,
Delicious.
deliciousness. Or
Deliciousness.
I don't know, something about curry up. Like a
Oh, I love
customer
that.
curry up. I don't know.
I like that. I like that. Um, I feel like I'd want to open almost like a 1920s theme restaurant. You don't
Ooh.
have to wear a costume to go in there, but it would be decorated very much like that. And so the food would be kind of very classic American things that they'd be eating then: steaks, lobsters, um, deviled eggs.
Deviled
um,
Pennsylvania. Deviled eggs.
yeah, like, martinis if you're a martini drinker, very classy, but then it would definitely have a live music element. So
Yeah.
you can go dancing with your friends or with your husband on a date night. It would also have a secret speakeasy room
I love
that
that.
you have to kind of know about to get to. There'd probably be a password. So I feel like my design concept is very uh,
Let me know when it opens.
elaborate.
I love that. I love that. In fact, the next party my husband and I throw, we decided on a 20s theme.
Oh gosh, you
So
should.
stay tuned.
Yeah. I own like two flapper dresses. I have a short one for
Yes.
parties. I have a gown for winter parties. I have a wig. I have Cuban heels. I have
Nice.
three different necklaces. Oh
Do you
no,
have
I
like a
have
little
five more.
feather? Do you have the
I
little?
don't. I don't. I wear a little wig with like a headband. I have like three different necklaces I wear. I have gloves. So whether or not I'm invited, I'm going to go to that party.
Oh, you are so invited. Oh my gosh. Stay tuned. We're going to have it as soon as, the quarantine orders are lifted. So seems
I'm
like the right time
off
for a
my wig.
speakeasy.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, here's your next question. Yes. So throughout our lives, it's kind of a natural thing to have celebrity crushes. There's a lot of
Mm,
celebrity crushes who are kind of common, right? Like a Brad Pitt, Liam
sure.
Hemsworth,
Totally
Chris
understand.
Hemsworth, etc. Who would you say has been kind of your weirdest, kind of non-typical celebrity crush?
Hmm. That's an interesting question because I want to default to Leonardo DiCaprio, like all phases of Leo, and my
Yeah.
stepdaughter is so into him right now. She just ran out all the colored ink on our printer, printing out pictures of him for her room. I don't blame her. Um,
Do you have a favorite Leo phase?
Romeo and Juliet for
Oh my
sure.
God, yes. That
A
that's my
hundred
favorite.
percent.
Yeah.
When he flicks his hair out of it,
Yeah.
forget it. Although he's also really handsome in The Great Gatsby, like
Yeah.
as an older man.
He is,
But
and
you
he's
know what?
like Gatsby.
Orlando Bloom in Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
even
I
though like he's kind of like that elfin character, I find very attractive.
I had in my college house, a gift that someone had given to me, and I moved it into my college house junior and senior year, a life-size cutout of Legolas, but the Orlando
Yeah.
Bloom Legolas, and he would sit in our living room and we'd kind of decorate him and dress him up for different holidays. So I'm so on board with that one as well.
High five.
Okay, well, I don't
High
know if
five to the
that's
elf
weird.
eaters.
I think those are pretty good picks, but we'll go with
I
it.
agree.
All right. So one thing I know about you is that you and your husband like to travel. You like to go all around, whether in the United States or all around the world. So I'm sure you've heard all kinds of different languages. So what language do you think sounds the most beautiful to your ear?
Oh my gosh. Um, Again, like I want to choose a default. I really think that Spanish is so beautiful.
Mhm.
Portuguese is incredibly romantic. But when we were in Africa back in January, it was Swahili, and I thought that was so beautiful. And when we climbed Kilimanjaro in Africa, we slept in tents along the way for 6 nights. And every night I laid there just falling asleep, listening to the porters and Sherpas speaking in Swahili, and it put me to sleep. I was also very tired, but
Yeah, I mean,
I was
that was
really tired, but it's
very
a beautiful language. It was my first time in Africa, and I've never heard like conversational Swahili before. It was so beautiful. And the people. I think it was the people speaking it too, who were
Sure.
so beautiful, so passionate, so full of life and real. That
Mhm.
was part of it.
What do you think? So if we think about, you know, people from other places speaking English, and it could even be regions in America, which accent, which that, I can't even say it. Which accent do you think makes English sound the most beautiful?
Man. I actually really love a good Boston accent.
Really?
Yeah,
Abba.
I think it's fascinating. I
Uh,
think it's really unique. And when you think of different accents within America, you don't really think of Boston. Most people think of like Southern accent or whatnot. But I think that a Boston accent is really neat.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I like that.
unique.
All right. Here's the last question in the Hey You category. Another thing I know about you is that you have two dogs. So if you could have a conversation with your dogs and they could respond back, what topics would you want to cover with them?
Oh, I would want to ask them why they keep peeing on the floor. 100%. That might be like the first and only thing that I really want to talk to them about,
It's
because
like, Mom, I
otherwise
can't
I
reach the
really
toilet.
think that they can understand me.
Yeah.
I and I think I can understand them, but I'm like a weird dog person like that. But I really want to know why they keep going to the bathroom on the floor. Come on.
I mean, they're pretty small. I don't think they can reach the toilet. You know.
No, but they're pad trained. They're also trained to go outside. But I just threw out 2 rugs last month. I mean, threw them out. Goodbye. Oh
Okay.
well, it's part of having a dog. It's worth it. But I would
Yeah.
really like to solve that riddle of
Yeah. What's up with that?
why you got to pee in the carpets. Hardwood floor, fine. I'll clean that up. It's no big deal. We won't have
Right.
any words. But
Yeah.
why do you need to pee on the white rug? But then again, why am I a dog owner with a white rug?
Well, that's a great question too. What
It
we had
is. It is.
similar. So our dog, he doesn't pee inside, but if he's going to be sick to his stomach and if he's going to throw up, he will not throw up on the wood. He has to throw up on the light beige carpet.
Oh,
So
of course.
it's like, I mean, maybe because it's softer and it makes him feel more secure, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you can throw up anywhere here.
Sure, have
Most
at
of
it.
it, yeah. And then the amount of rug that's the smallest proportion of our whole place. Um, that's where the throw up needs to go.
Makes sense.
I, I got it. Okay, let's go to Brian would want to know. And this was supplied by my husband Brian. Um,
Hey, Brian.
she says hi. I think
Hey.
he's very busy over there. He would like you to finish this sentence. I would have more fun if I could.
Uh, go to a store and walk around haphazardly. In the present time, I would have more fun.
That makes sense.
It's something that I really like to do. I don't need to be buying anything.
Yeah.
I would love to go to the mall with one of my girlfriends, with you, with Tiff, with anyone, and just walk around, talk,
Yeah.
maybe get a coffee and just walk around and be surrounded by people. I'm an extrovert. I love people. I love being around people. I love talking to like cashiers, servers, clerks in stores, sales.
Yeah.
I'll talk to anybody, and I really, really miss that. So I would be happier if I could go to a mall and walk around with girlfriends.
That makes sense.
I really would be. It's
Okay.
coming. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, it's going to happen. We just need to stay vigilant and stay, just keep our eyes open and just be ready.
Online shopping cures it a little bit, but not quite.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. I'm someone who prefers online shopping. I don't like literal shopping. I think I personally just get too overwhelmed with all of the options.
Yes.
So I like to online shop because I can more so like curate what I'm looking for. And I
agree.
think
That's a really good point.
yeah. And that's just me. I would rather go walk around shops with the intention of knowing I'm not going to buy anything. And that to me is relaxing. But if I'm going to look for something, I get overwhelmed, I get cranky, and I'm just like, I'm going to leave. And then I end up leaving.
Yes.
And I just buy something online. So it's all for nothing. Anyway, okay. So let's finish up here. This is a category called just silliness. This has nothing to do with anything, just to see what you think. I can't take credit for this question. I found this online and I found it very interesting. Is cereal soup? Why or why not?
Oh, man. Oh, I love that question. I love cereal. Oh my gosh. I feel like most of my childhood was spent at the kitchen table eating a bowl of cereal with the box in front of you so you could read the back and the sides, and that was it. Is cereal soup? I'm going to say no because I really like soup to be hot.
Okay.
But I know that some soups are cold.
Yeah, like a gazpacho or like
like a gazpacho, which I do not care for because I'm very offended by tomatoes. I hate tomatoes.
Okay, well that makes sense.
No gazpacho for me. I had watermelon, like a cold watermelon soup at a restaurant one time. I didn't really like that either. Like I said, I'm a horrible picky eater. I like what I like.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm not a kid anymore, and nobody can tell me I have to finish this. I have to eat this. I can make what I want.
Yeah.
But no, I think that cereal is not soup. But I'm gonna think about that and ask other people.
Right, because if you think about it, it's like, well, what defines soup really? But all right. You heard it here first. Rebecca thinks that cereal is not soup. So
I stand by my answer.
I like that. Okay. I appreciate that. All right. So here's our last question, if you will. It's kind of what I call the quick fire. This one I'm excited about. So your quick fire category, I'm calling Rebecca's Getting Ready playlist, because of all the things I know about you. So we talked about, I know, you do pageants. I know you hang out with your husband, obviously. I know you do, you work out and you train. I also know, because of your social media, that you really like music and you like to music with things. So a lot of times your stories have music behind them, and I love that. So I have 5 things I'm just going to mention. I want you to envision, what song are you listening to when you're getting ready for that event?
I love it.
Just say what comes to mind. We'll just fire through these, okay?
Yes.
First, you're getting ready to host a dinner party. What are you listening to?
I am listening to Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
Oh,
for sure.
I love that. Okay.
In its entirety.
Perfect. Pre-race, you're going to do your triathlon, you're going to kill it.
Ooh. You know, that answer can vary, but right now I am listening to just super 90s dance hits like the Venga Boys, Real McCoy,
Yeah,
um,
love that.
Snap, The Rhythm is a Dancer, or I've Got the
Yes,
Power.
I love that song.
I'm just dying over those songs right now.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love that. I love that.
90s dance.
My father, I happen to know he owns all of those songs probably on vinyl. So I was
Yes, oh
growing
my
up
gosh.
in the late 80s and kind of early to mid 90s, he was a DJ and he would DJ weddings, sweet 16s. I think he was at a club for a little bit. Um,
Nice.
and I remember going to the record store with him to buy like literally Snap, Rhythm is a Dancer, and
Yes, oh
those
my
types of things.
gosh.
And he still has all of that music in his basement. And it was at the time when CDs were first coming out.
Hmm.
And kids now are like, what's a CD? So CDs were first coming out on the scene. And so we had to get a CD player. And I'd go now, not just to the record store with him, but to go to buy CDs. It was really exciting. But he still owns all of that stuff, which is really cool because
That is amazing.
my parents will throw parties in their basement. And instead of playing digital music or digital playlists, he'll be able to just physically put on music, which is kind of fun.
Oh,
But
I want an invite to that.
for sure, you're in. All right, you're getting ready for a date night with your husband.
Right now, it would be Thank You Next, Ariana Grande, the album from start to finish. I love that album. It doesn't happen often that I really fall in love with like a current artist. I
Mm,
love nostalgia. I like things from the past. I
mhm.
love Ariana.
Love that. All right.
Love, love.
Pre-photo shoot. What are you getting ready to really?
Ooh, anything Madonna. Oh
Mm.
my gosh. Absolutely. I want to be a little corny and say Vogue, but 100%. I mean, that song has a purpose. I feel like
Sure,
that is the song's purpose. And
for sure.
Carlos always plays that anyway.
Yeah.
Anything Madonna. Express yourself like a prayer.
Mm. She has a
Yes,
lot of good ones.
Madonna.
All right,
Gosh, do I love
here's your
her.
last one to send us off. Um, you're getting ready to hit the pageant stage. So you're in Sri Lanka, you're about to hit the stage at Mrs. World 2020. What are you listening to really get yourself ready to perform and kill it?
Ooh, goosebumps. There's a song I always listen to. It's called Broken Glass by Rachel Platten. It is the most beautiful song. And if you really want to hear a really beautiful version of it, and my preferred version,
Mhm.
just Google on YouTube Rachel Platten Broken Glass
I
at
love.
Miss Universe. And it's when they do the final walk with their top three. So then it was Colombia, Jamaica, and their winner, Miss South Africa, Demi Lee Nell Peters, who ended up winning, who is my all-time favorite title holder.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But if you want some inspiration for that final look, just watch Demi Lee. It is such a beautiful video, and Rachel Platten's performance of that song, I could listen to it and get tears in my eyes perpetually. And the lyrics really are my why of why I want to do all of this. And the one lyric I love, she says, I know that all of this is not just for me. And
Mm.
it's so it's goosebumps. It's so true. What you do in all of this with your platform work, it is not all about you. It's
Mhm.
bigger than you.
Mhm. I love that.
I
Well, I
love
wrote
that
that
song.
down. I'm going to listen
Yes.
to that after this. So
Watch the
thank you so
video. You
much.
gotta watch the video though.
I will.
It's
I will.
so beautiful.
I
Oh my
remember, I
god.
mean, I watched that pageant live. I don't remember that particular part, but I need to go back to it. All right.
Yep,
Well,
it's the final look.
I'm excited. I can like picture the dresses they're wearing in that. I can't believe
Yes, Jamaica
that
in the
just,
flowy yellow.
yes, that was great.
Yeah.
I actually really loved that this past year of the Miss Universe pageant.
Oh yeah.
But
That's
anyway,
primetime TV for us. That's like the Super
yes,
Bowl.
it's the best. I get my snacks. I'm ready to go. But anyway, I know I can't talk to you all day and night, so you've answered all my questions. Thank you so much, Rebecca. It's always a pleasure. I will tell you, or I guess I'll tell everybody that I really love and appreciate Rebecca. I think she's really inspiring.
Oh, thanks.
I feel like I don't want to cry.
Likewise.
Why am I crying?
Like what? Like
No, I
what?
feel like honestly, you. Is it my time of the month? No, you just always like in a really good way make me want to up my game in like every level.
Oh
And
man,
so
and
thank you so much. I really
you are
appreciate it. I
on
think it's
such a
awesome.
you're on such a roll, Melissa. You really, really are. You are such a strong contender in this pageant. I'm so
Well,
proud to know
if I don't
you
cry the whole time.
and watch you grow through all of this because you're really, by doing this and everything that you've done, like you're really putting yourself out there and
Thanks.
you're showing yourself as a go-getter and someone who is interested in people and wants to be relatable, and you're so beautiful, and I'm so happy to know you, and I'm so glad that we don't live so far from each other.
I know. It's like an hour max.
Yeah, not
That's
even. And when all this is over, I'm be at your doorstep.
yes, we'll go out, we'll hit the town in Phoenixville for sure.
And we're gonna do appearances together, and I can't
Yes.
wait.
Yes, once they're not all canceled, and then I'll have to change my show name to All of Our Appearances Are Back On. And then
Yeah.
all the guests can talk about what they are actually doing out in the world.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Rebecca, so much. I love you and I appreciate you.
I love you. Thanks for having me.